Welcome to LDSBookReviews.com. My name is Ryan Daly, and today we're going to do a book that I've been excited to do a review on. It's interesting to say because of what I'm going to rate it, but it's The Lost Scriptures, Books That Didn't Make It in the New Testament by Bart Erhman. Now, Bart Erhman is like the New Testament guru scholar. Okay, he's written tons of books. He's actually a great writer. This book isn't so much his writings as much as its collections of non-canonical New Testament writings. Okay, so this is going to include the Gospel of the Savior, the Gospel of Mark, non-canonical Acts of the Apostles, the Acts of Thomas, the Dyad, the First Letter of Clement, Acts of Peter, things like this. Okay, now Lost Scriptures. So I'm going to give this 2 stars. But I need to explain and preface it for a little bit because it's going to show more value to different types of people. For the most part in the LDS community, it's not necessary. You're not going to read it and get anything like unique or interesting or something that you are going to like, oh man, I didn't know that. However, for those of you who do find interest in early Christian beliefs, particularly Gnostic beliefs and other divisions of Christianity from the early few hundred years after Christ, this is a great reference. I mean, I have it in my library as an awesome reference. I've read through every single page of this. And it's more out of curiosity, right? I've wanted to know what the different writings said. Now, there's good reason why these weren't included in the New Testament. Now, that's always negotiable. There's those people who are always talking about censorship. And of course, as LDS and the LDS community, we do believe that the Bible had some level of censorship. But for the most part, these books, it's fairly well accepted they were written well after the apostles. And more or less, they were attributed to the apostles to give them some credibility. In different faiths, they were written with strong biases. Arguably, all of it was written with bias, but they were written with strong biases to perpetuate different kinds of doctrine and different kinds of concepts. So, with that being said, they're not canon, and I don't think they should be canon. But if you're interested to understand kind of some Gnostic early beliefs that were around in Christianity post-Christ, post-apostles, and even post-Council of Nicene, trying to find different themes or whatever. This is an interesting text. It's good to read. You do get small snippets. There is one book that I wish we had more context. That's the Secret Gospel of Mark. The Secret Gospel of Mark's a reference to not by the text itself, but it's cited in another thing. That's a text that we've just never had any sense of. And so there's just a few snippets that are cited in another letter in Rome. The Epistle of the Apostles, the Gospel of the Savior. So when we talk about Gnostics too, we're talking about not all of this is Gnostic writing, but you have this conflict between good and bad, truth and error, and the physical being evil and the spiritual being eternal and holy. And so you do see these writings that kind of cling on to those ideas to defend that maybe Christ wasn't resurrected, that he was just a spirit because that's better than a physical body. It transcends physicality. Anyways, I don't want to get too much into it. But I give it 2 stars generally for the LDS community. If you're a scholar or you just like source material like I do and just want to read it for kicks and giggles. Also because I actually run in circles that always try to quote weird stuff or try to throw you off. It's nice sometimes to say, oh yeah, that's from the Gospel of James. Like I'm well aware what you're referencing and I don't have any context that this is accurate. That's actually what I use this most for. I have a boss who does that to me all the time. Tries to catch me off guard. Like, oh, did you know that there's these scriptures that never made in the New Testament? I'm like, yeah, the Gnostic writings. The ability for me to actually say that and have read through it and speak to it intelligibly is kind of my draw to the book. Again, Lost Scriptures. I hope I did it justice. I would recommend that you go through the write-up because this is kind of more of a rambling session, but the write-up.